Alexander Hamilton was born on January 11th in either 1755 or 1757. There are conflicting reports on his birth year. He was the only non-native founding father. His parents were James Hamilton and Rachel Levine. His father left when Hamilton was 8 and his mother died when he was 11. He started working at the age of 12 as an apprentice at the counting house of Nicholas Krugel and David Beekman. In 1772, he came to the United States to Francis Barber's Grammar School. In 1774, he entered King's College in New York, which is the present-day Columbia University. He received his Bachelor of Arts degree in 1 year. While at school, he learned about the conflict on the role of the British in the colonies. He began to publish in 1772 about the conflict. After school, he joined the military, where he met George Washington, served as Washington's secretary for 4 years, and achieved the rank of lieutenant colonel. After serving for a short while in Congress, he taught himself about law and entered the legal profession. In 1783, he began practicing law with Richard Harrison. 2 years after marrying Elizabeth Schuyler, he became an assistant to Robert Morris, who was superintendent of finance. In 1784, he founded the Bank of New York. Hamilton also worked to restore King's College, which became Columbia College. Hamilton first entered politics when he was elected to the Congress of the Confederation in 1782. He served for 1 year. He attended the Annapolis Convention in 1786. 12 delegates from 5 states attended and unanimously called for a constitutional convention. In 1787, Hamilton became an assemblyman for New York County. He also served as a delegate to the Constitutional Convention. He was the first delegate chosen. Even though Hamilton played a large role in calling for the Constitutional Convention, his actual role at the convention was limited. In 1788, he served in the Continental Congress again in what ended up being its last session. Hamilton served as the first Secretary of the Treasury, serving from September 1789 to January 1795. He also founded the U.S. Mint and the First National Bank. He worked to establish the credit of the United States both home and abroad. In 1798, after stepping down as Secretary of the Treasury, Hamilton was appointed Inspector General of the Army. Other than Benjamin Franklin, Alexander Hamilton is the only non-president represented on a United States banknote. He is on the $10 bill. Hamilton was a signer of the Constitution. At the Constitutional Convention, he essentially wanted to do away with state sovereignty. He supported a lower and upper house system. The government would also be run by a governor who would be elected by electors and serve a life term. The governor would have absolute veto power over bills. His suggestions were well received, but were not considered because they resembled the British monarchy system too closely and because the states did not support the loss of their authority. As a founding father, he frequently clashed with Thomas Jefferson and John Adams over his illegitimate birth. At the Continental Convention, James Madison viewed Hamilton as a monarchist because of his support for a monarch-like national leader. He was very close to George Washington because of his previous tenure as Washington's personal secretary. Hamilton also had a long-running feud with Aaron Burr, who killed him in a duel in 1804. Hamilton's most well-known work was the Federalist Papers, a series of 85 articles published after the Constitutional Convention to promote the ratification of the Constitution. The Federalist Papers were a collaboration between Hamilton, James Madison, and John Jay. The papers were published in the Independent Journal between October 1787 and August 1788. Hamilton's first major publication was a pamphlet called A Full Vindication of the Measures of Congress. In 1787, he published the Continental Papers in New York newspapers. Hamilton was a part of the Federalist Party. He formed the Federalist Party in 1794. The party was committed to a fiscally responsible and nationalistic government. Federalism is a political concept in which a group of members are bound together with a governing representative head. A group of members create a sovereign constitution with a central governing authority and political units. Hamilton only concerned himself with slavery when it affected him personally. He did not own slaves and viewed it as a waste of talent. During the Revolutionary War, he recruited slaves and made them soldiers, giving them their freedom if they served. Hamilton is considered the patron saint of American economics. He had a strong effect on the tone of the U.S. economic system. He supported government intervention in favor of business. Hamilton opposed Britain's version of free trade. Instead, he supported American protectionism to develop the American economy.